What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Real Estate Uncensored. This is one of our live shows. We're super excited to be here. As always, this is the place where you learn how to reach more people online, build influence, and get more clients. Dale Archdekin is here, the king of lead conversion. We've got a fun conversation on deck with him. We've got the evil bald ninja is here. We'll bring those guys both in a second. We've got lots to talk about, as always. We're talking about naked and afraid in real estate, what to do next, and we're talking about how to have fun in real estate, having great conversations that actually turn into opportunities and clients, so lots to cover. First of all, the junior grandmaster, Greg McDaniel, in the co-pilot seat, where you so belong. What's up to you?
I do belong. This is my favorite seat. I've actually worn a divot in this seat. I literally have a butt divot in this seat because I spend so much time in it. Not the most comfortable anymore, but it shows that I've logged some serious hours here. We got a great show. Every time I talk to Dale, dude, my cheeks hurt at the end of our conversation because the shit that comes out of this man's mouth surprises even himself.
Which cheeks? Which cheeks? You better be specific.
That is true.
Well, you're going to hear from my attorney.
The posterior cheeks. No, but it's going to good stuff. I'm super pumped. We got Gene here, the bald ninja, and we're going to just crush it. So Dale, welcome. Gene, welcome. Matt, take it away.
Oh, I have to take it away? All right, well, first of all, before we get to Dale, let's bring Gene in for a quick hot second. Gene, what's up today?
Yeah, let's do that. What's going on?
Not much. We got a little West Coast, East Coast smackdown. Maybe we'll have to find something to disagree about here in a second because it's always fun to disagree with you East Coasters. So first of all, what's up, Gene, to you? And then Dale, it's been a little bit. It's been a minute since you've been on the show, so officially welcome back.
It's been a while. I don't know what happened last time. Maybe exposing myself on the previous episode might have delayed me getting invited back. I'm not sure. But
I don't know. It depends on what you exposed. But I feel like was there a candy cane blazer involved in your last appearance?
Yes, there was.
Has it been
and
that
a Santa
long?
hat. It might
Santa
have been last
hat.
time.
It's been
the one before.
Yeah, I feel like that may have been the one before or something like that. But you've been with us a few times. We're going to talk about lead conversion. We're going to talk about conversations. We've got a bunch of stuff to get into. But first of all, just catch us up. What have you been up to?
Coaching my ass off, frankly. Yes.
Yeah.
Growing the coaching company that I have, Smart Inside Sales. And we now have a course called Conversion University, which is geared toward agents and ISAs and really takes all of the commandments that we've been preaching in my religion of lead conversion for years now and condenses them all down into a course that teaches agents and ISAs how to have really powerful and enjoyable conversations with the leads that they're talking to. So just growing that, and clawing to get back onto this show with you guys because this is the place to be.
Dude, all you have to do is ask, brother. We'll say no. I mean, yes.
I finally got through the gatekeepers and got to you guys.
Gatekeeper. There are some gatekeepers. I'll give you that. Oh my God. Okay, so let's talk about the whole naked and afraid thing. We're talking behind the scenes. I don't remember who brought it up. Where did the naked and afraid thing come from?
It came from my video game that I play because you wake up naked and afraid, and I'm like, holy shit, this is just like real estate, When you don't know what to say and you don't know who to talk to and you don't know how you're going to pay the bills, you're basically naked and afraid, right? And and you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And then
that is the horrible sensation.
I actually talked to a gentleman. He's a newer agent at one of my broker's tours yesterday for our new listing. He's been in the market business since October or November. Then took a month off because his wife had a baby, but now he's back at it. And when I was looking at him, I really felt like the old guy in the conversation, and we're only a couple of years apart. Because I'm like, fuck, man, I've been doing this for 20 years, and he's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I'm going, slow down there, young bull. Let's just walk down, okay? We don't need to run down the hill. But
Before you pee down your leg, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And I got a big kick out of it because I'm like, oh my God, Dale, you're 100% right. And all jokes aside, when you get into the business, it's like everything and the kitchen sink is thrown at a new real estate agent to the point where there's like, I don't know which way to go. and to really kind of clear all the bullshit out of the way and start getting clarity and stuff, and being able to really kind of learn authentically who you are, how to have the conversations, who's the right coach and trainer for you, what system should I subscribe to, how do I want to prospect, should I do calls, should I do videos? I mean, the questions go on, and it is, you really truly are naked and afraid every morning when you get into the business. Sometimes you are naked, and sometimes you are afraid. Matt's personal life, but we don't talk about that on air. But continue.
Thanks, Greg, for stealing my joke that I made about you in the pre-show.
It's all just allegations.
Exactly. Unproven allegations. All right, so we got a bunch of different directions that we could go, but I want to talk a little bit about the conversation part of it first, because you've got some good general principles that I want to get into. Because I think for most agents, we joke around about what it's like to first get into the business, but Dale, the problem is a lot of people stay in that, and every day they wake up naked and afraid because there is no growth going on, right? They have no systems. They don't get better at conversations over the years. They don't get better at having them. They don't get better at generating them. So every year in real estate is just the first year in real estate over and over again. And I wanted to say something real quick, just like if you truly are new, or if you're spinning your wheels, unfortunately, a lot of the advice that you're going to get is not going to be from people like Dale. They're from people that focus on the operations side. In other words, how do you get better at delivering the service? The problem with that is you have to set that aside. Like, that's a different thing. And you have an obligation to be as good as you can, but that doesn't get you clients. The stuff that we're about to talk about is what determines whether you actually last in the business or not, because there are, and Dale, we all know a bunch of them. How many realtors can we all name off, friends of ours, relatives, whatever, that they were probably good, quality, decent agents in the sense that they could provide good service? They are no longer in the business and had nothing to do with the quality of the service they provided.
You can suck at providing the service of selling real estate, and as long as you're good at, you can suck at actually delivering, right, on the sale once you have somebody. You can totally suck at that. And you can still stay in business if you're good at selling, if you're good at lead generation and lead conversion. It doesn't go the other way around. If you suck at lead conversion and lead generation, you are going to go broke very quickly. And unfortunately, there are lots of cases, there's lots of evidence in everybody's market of agents who are shitty to work with, but they're good salespeople. So they can keep getting leads, they can keep converting people. They suck at execution. They don't get any referrals out of that, but they can still stay in business. So that's one of the things that's so important. And when I'm working with a team, when I'm working with a brokerage, a lot of times we first start by assessing where the agents are in their skill sets. And some teams and brokerages have really good comprehensive training, right? And when we start working with those agents, you can tell they're engaging, they're confident, they have a good process down. So when we start working with them, then we just help them with, well, what happens when somebody doesn't want to do what you want them to do, when you want them to do it, or who you want them to do it with. We can make you more confident there, and we can also help you talk about your value propositions and tee up logical closes with people. So we work there. But then a lot of agents that we run into, it's a shit show, right? And you're like, okay, let's start with some basic sales training 101. Here's how it goes, right? Start from this and move to that. And when they say this, don't say that to them. Say this, right?
Yes, it's like how we have to back up and train people how to have a conversation with another human.
It's like when a lead comes from Zillow and the first thing they say is, I really want to go see 123 Main Street. And you say, oh, Main Street's under agreement. You can't buy it now. Don't do that, right? You don't say that.
I love how you come across so deadpan. Don't do that. Like, gosh damn it, people.
In the first 10 seconds, don't tell them they can't have what they want, right? Especially when they're a stranger. You just don't do that. That's
what is the right answer to that? What is the right answer to that?
The right answer to that is great. You're interested in 123 Main Street. That's fantastic. What questions do you have about that property? Question. Fantastic. When are you looking to purchase? Are you currently in the market? Do you live here now, or are you just moving into the area? Question, right? Then somewhere down near the end, after we've agreed to get together and we're going to meet over here, I might say, hey, you know what's crazy? That house, it actually turns out to be under agreement. So I'll show you 3 other ones that match the same criteria, right?
Yeah.
That's what you do.
No, I think that's a phenomenal way because you have to build a rapport. You have to show your value. You have to like build that interpersonal connection. And if you reject them immediately, where's your value? I mean, at that point, you're just an order taker. You're a telemarketer, right? Just pick up the phone.
Because then what you hear is,
Bob's
oh,
Pizza.
darn. Okay, click.
Yeah.
Well, and you're also setting the stage, too, for what's about to come. You start with negativity. It's, in my mind, subconsciously, that's what I'm going to get the whole time anyway. You're turning me off right from the outset.
Yeah.
And
So,
I also, if you're watching the video, I really want to do the rest of the podcast while we're talking into our phone like this. It's a good look. It is a good look.
I have props today. So a lot of people that we run into, they will have agents on their team that do things like that just do totally counterproductive sales maneuvers because they don't know any better. And we have to sort of, smack them around a little bit and teach them what to do and how to do it. And then, like we were talking off air before we got on this, Matt, is that once you do that with somebody, when you give them the knowledge, when you give them the tools and you teach them how to go the right way around about it, they don't have to be afraid about screwing up their conversation anymore, right? They know how to dance with somebody, anybody. It's like teaching an agent or a salesperson how to walk into a room full of people doing different dances, and you're like, I can do any of those. It doesn't matter. I just need to pick one and I can do it.
Yeah, and we were talking before we went live just about, taking the fear out of conversations, because that's part of what the training process does. And I think most people would not necessarily expect that to be a side effect, right? Like, oh, I'll get better at sales, but it's not going to be any more enjoyable. It's always going to feel this way. And your experience has been the opposite, which is once you get the skills, it changes how you feel about the calls themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's, like going from being a novice at anything to mastery in anything, you just have this sense of confidence and self-assuredness and being sort of centered that you can't describe and you have to experience. And once you get there, it becomes so much easier. And you actually like doing it. Believe it or not, agents can actually like making calls, prospecting, following up with leads when they really know how to do it and they feel they have mastery over it.
You know what? I will tell you one thing 100% honestly. People are always astonished at me consistently coming out and doing my beers and calls, every single day, right? And they're like, how could you come out and do this? Well, I've done it for nearly 20 years. I mean, I have the 10,000 hours under my belt. I don't care who you are, what you throw at me. I will bob and weave with you, and I'll dance all damn day with you because I know how to do it. So it is the confidence. It is the just knowing, like, if you say a hard left on me somewhere, okay, I'll pivot and I'll still take on the conversation. And I believe, and Dale, correct me if I'm wrong, which I never am, but if you feel that, you can stop shaking your head at me.
I dare you. I dare you to correct me if you think I'm wrong.
I dare you, my friend.
And I'm calling bullshit after this, too, but keep going.
What?
I keep going. Finish your thought.
I forgot what my thought was, damn it.
All right, so you're full of shit, too. You only do beers and calls because you want to drink. That's what you do. If there was no beer involved, you'd do that shit 2 days, and that would be the end of it.
I do that stuff every day. Before there was beers and calls, I did my crazy dancing show. And but you're right. I do try to justify. I try to justify having a beer at 4:30. I'm not going to lie. I'm a real estate agent, and besides, it kind of eases the pain of the rejection. But Dale, if someone doesn't have the confidence and let's say they don't have the money for a triple line dialer, they don't have the money for marketing, they're flat ass broke, they're going paycheck to paycheck, maybe they're even in debt, but they really love real estate, they like the opportunity and how to get started in it. What's that first step? Or if someone's getting back into the business, maybe they took a couple of years off, maybe they had a couple of kids, maybe their husband or wife was able to bring the money in, now they're bored, but getting back into it, it's a totally different game now. Where do people start? There's so much noise, and everyone tells you, hey, man, you buy my product. All you have to do is one deal, and it'll justify this product for the whole year. It's like, well, fuck, man. If I got like 20 of these products, I got to do all 20 deals just to justify that damn thing. So how do we start not being naked and afraid? Where does that begin? Walk me through that process.
Listen, the road to salvation is through conversations. That's all there is to it, man. It's relationship and conversation. And the more conversations that you could fucking stand outside the grocery store handing out your business card all day long, and eventually you're going to find somebody who's going to buy or sell real estate with you. It works. It just comes down to conversation. That's it. So if you're new, if you're naked and afraid, start talking to people. Preferably put something over your privates before you do that so that you don't get arrested. But start having conversations with people that you know.
I will tell you, that's a good conversation starter, though.
It certainly is.
What
do you mean I have no pants?
You mean the question, where is it? That conversation starter?
Clearly you're talking about
Isn't there something?
I didn't think it was that cold out today. That's so weird.
Oh, man. Are you doing some modeling for the new line of Ken dolls? Okay.
Let's not picking on Greg.
Okay.
All joking aside, I mean, back what my father has told me and what I did when I first started in real estate, and all jokes aside, people would always ask, well, how to get started? And Dale, I'm so glad you said this. He said, take 25 business cards, walk out your front door on Monday, turn left, don't come back until they're gone. On Tuesday, take 25 cards, walk out your door, turn right, and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. You will have such a forthcoming, such a wave, a tsunami of business in the next 6 to 8 months. If you do that consistently and persistently, you won't need any other lead generation sources because you're connecting with people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Conversations and connect with people. And if you're broke, naked, and afraid, a very healthy appetite for rejection, you combine those things and you're going to do great. You're going to last long in this business. Because, Greg, what a lot of people don't know who haven't been in the business as long as we have, basically that tailwind, all those years creates a massive tailwind that at some point you aren't going to have to do that stuff anymore, and you're still going to close 15, 20, 30 houses a year with just a little bit of effort. Right? You got to get out of bed in the morning, right?
Dale, don't make me do work.
Get
out of bed.
You
I just want
lost
to take
Greg
a
at the
pee in
getting
my
out of
bed.
bed part. But it is
horrible.
true. I mean, that's the whole, we've had Hank Avink on the show, multiple times. He talks about 36 to life. Get to 3 deals a month and then optimize from there. And Gail is a great example of that system in action. I mean, most of her conversation is basically just hanging out on social media, starting conversations with people, sending them thoughtful cards through send-out cards. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, Gail and her husband together are doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 50-plus deals a year, just cranking it out year after year after year. She's not making cold calls.
No. She builds her
Gail that does a lot of
Gail Zentek. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she kills it with referrals, man. Like
crushes.
Awesome
and it's purely by sending the cards, and she goes on Facebook, finds a picture of something that someone posted, screenshots that bitch, puts it on a card, writes a little something, sends it out to them. Bam, you're all of a sudden top of mind again. It doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes a little bit of thought to really become a top producing agent.
Right.
Matt.
Right, but where people are afraid is they're afraid to start the conversations because they're afraid of the conversations themselves, and I think that's where a lot of agents get stuck, right? Yeah. So whether you sign up on a team and you start getting online leads or not, I'm saying, like, that's why people don't reach out to their friends, their family. It's why they don't just leave the house with business cards. They're afraid of where the conversation goes. So let's give some let's see if we can give some tactical stuff for handling the unknown, right? So the conversations that you're coaching agents through, give us a little overview of what types of conversations they're typically having, and let's give a little baseline for just what the first minute or so of a good conversation starts out like, so we can help them just get into more conversations.
Sure. You know what? Actually, it starts with several principles that we teach, and one of the principles that everyone has to have ingrained to begin with is that every single person that you talk to, 99% of the people that you talk to will buy or sell real estate at some point. So even if they say no to you today or they're not interested today, you're still going to have a conversation with them to find out who they are, how they're living now, and what their plan is for the future, if they have one or not. So when one of the errors that we see when working with agents, especially inexperienced agents, is if they ask someone if they're a potential lead, if they ask this potential lead if they're interested in buying or selling real estate, and they say no, or not right now, they're stumped and they don't know where to go, right? Well, just know that all that means is I'm not ready to buy or sell something right now, but you still do the rest of your discovery to find out who they are, how they're living now, and whether they may have plans in the future to do anything. So that's one of the core principles. And then also when they're working leads or talking to someone who could be a potential lead, one of the key things that we teach is now, sooner, or logical next step. So when you're having a conversation with a lead, you're always focused on, can we do something now, right? You're asking your questions based on, can we do something now? Can you buy now? Can you sell now? Can you sign now? Can we meet now? And if the answer to that is no, ask questions to get that lead to explain to you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, why now makes absolutely no sense and can't happen, right? And once they convince you that now cannot happen, you're going to ask questions to find out if we can do it sooner instead. You're going to ask your questions until they prove to you that sooner can't happen either and won't happen. Then you move to a logical next step with them. And a logical next step is not, oh, okay, well, how about I just give you a call every couple months and see where you're at? That's not a logical next step. That's a threat coming from a salesperson, right? You've just threatened that person to call them randomly.
It is.
That's a threat.
It is.
You know?
That's so true. That's hilarious.
You have now just threatened your lead. You don't know when it's going to happen. I'm just randomly going to call you for no apparent reason. See if you want to buy something.
Oh, that I never thought about that. That explains a lot in my life.
Yeah. So don't do that.
So don't do it. Okay,
What's the alternative? What's the alternative? Yeah.
So the alternative is you talk through a series of plans with them. You basically, in the dialogue, create a plan with this person. Because a lot of times, especially with leads that are going to be down the road 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 18 months, they really haven't thought through the process of how they're going to do things anyway. So usually in that conversation, you would find an endpoint and you'd say, oh, okay, well, you're thinking of purchasing next spring, not this spring. I totally get it. Got it. So if you were to buy next spring, when would that be? Like, are you thinking around this month or around this month? And they're going to say something, and then you'd find out, okay, like end of the month or beginning of the month, for you to say, if you went through with this and you had the keys in hand, moving truck outside, like around the beginning or the end of the month, and they're going to tell you, right? And even if they don't, if they're avoiding it and they say, oh, I don't really know, I have no idea, you just pick it yourself. Okay, well, let's say that you were going to move in at the end of April, keys in your hand and everything, right? Well, we know it takes approximately this long for you to get through the mortgage process, inspections, negotiation, blah, 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 which means that you would need to find your perfect house around this time. Would that work for you? Have you thought about that, right? We're doing constant check-ins with them. So we're working them backwards. Then we're going to do, got it. So if you need to have found the perfect home by this time, then that means you would need to actually start seriously shopping by this time. Would that make sense for you? Yes, it would. Okay, great. Now, if you know you need to start shopping by this time, when would you like to meet with a real estate professional to value proposition? And you just get them to pick it.
I love that. I forgot about that. And it is because it's not, again, you're not selling, you're walking your client through the thought process. It's not going, you're not threatening your client, which I find that fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious.
You know, but you just
Sales
threaten your
threat.
client. I'm calling you. I know you don't know when it's going to be though.
Exactly.
Matt might
No
be in his
good
trench
reason.
coat outside their windows. But
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like, okay, so Dale, you said you want to move in June, so we have to be in contract by May, which means we should probably be looking by April. So we're end of February, so we should probably get in the car now if we want to meet that goal. Do you agree? And now everyone's like, oh shit, I'm on the clock. Like, oh my gosh.
Greg, what I would do slightly differently than what you did, you might have just done it condensed. But if you were like I said, so if we need to be in the house by then you would need to have found the perfect home to get through the process because it takes this long. Does that make sense to you? You do a check-in with the lead, right?
Gotcha.
I walk you backwards to a step, check in. I walk you backwards a step, I check in. I walk you back another step, and then I get you to tell me when we should meet. And if you say something that's going to be less than 2 weeks or so at least prior to when you should start shopping, then I'm going to auto correct you, right? But if you say, usually what people will say is, well, maybe a couple of weeks before that, and that's acceptable. You say, great, okay, I can meet with you around that time.
Well, let's do this. Let's role play this.
Sure.
Let's role play. Let's do live time. I'll be the. You know what? Let's get Grumpy Pants over there. Let's get Johnson be the client, and Gene, you can be the client. Which one do you think?
I was going to tell him to do that with me because I want to see how he convinces me that I'm going to move. Like,
ooh, yeah.
I almost felt like you were. Well, we'll go into it. Pretend like you made the call. Let's just pretend.
So
like
here's
you made
the scenario. This is the scenario, Gene. You have the intention to buy something. It's not going to be now. You're thinking it will be about a year from now.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fantastic, Gene. So, well, if you do end up buying something next year, around next spring, when do you think? When would the spring be for you, Gene?
So it would have to be probably right around the start of April, I would think.
Start of April. Got it. So would you want to be moved into your new home at the start of April, or would you want to be just going to settlement? Would you want to be starting the process?
I think so I have two kids, right? I have a freshman in high school and I have a sixth grader. So I'm thinking that I would want to start the process so that I feel like it might be easier. And maybe you could tell me, it would be a little bit easier for me to move in when they're out of school, right?
Yeah, that it certainly can be easier to do that.
So then let's start April 1st then. How about that?
Okay. So this is kind of messing up what we're doing. Let's say that you don't pick April. You say, I want to be moved in like June. Because you just took a lot of the process out.
Come on, Gene, get it together.
You just took a lot of the process out by picking such an early start date, Gene. So
I got you. Okay,
most people don't do that. So you say, well, we want to be moved in like June, right?
Okay.
Which means in the real estate world, when you're working leads, if somebody says, I want to be moved in like June, they've collapsed the time, and they think I'll meet with an agent in June because I'm going to be moved into a house in June, right?
Got it. Yeah.
They would never say, oh, I should start real early. They don't say that.
Gotcha.
If they do, great. You don't need.
Yeah, right. I'm your perfect client apparently because I know that you need 3 months lead time, right?
So you want to move in when the kids get out of school.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So when would that be, Gene? Like middle of June? When do your kids usually get out of school?
I would say June 10th is probably a good date.
June 10th. Got it. Okay. So you want to have keys in hand, moving truck outside. You're bringing boxes into your new place like mid-June, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. Got it. So what we know is that it usually takes 30 to 45 days once you've found the perfect home to get through all the inspections and negotiations and all the work that has to happen in order for you to get those keys. So if you want to be carrying in boxes mid-June, then that means that we're going to have found that perfect home more like the beginning of May. Would that make sense?
By your math, it does.
Yes. Yeah. So in order to get through that process, it's about 45 days prior, right? So if you have to have found the perfect home by the beginning of May, we know that on average, it usually takes our buyers about 30 days of serious shopping before they find that perfect home, which means that you're probably going to have to start actually shopping at the beginning of April. Did you think about that?
Well, Dale, if you had been listening to me, that's what I said first. No, I'm not. I'm kidding.
Damn salespeople never listen.
No. I think if you're backing into that, I didn't think about it being that early, but yeah.
That would make sense, right? So, Gene, if you know that you have to be seriously shopping by the beginning of April, when would you like to sit down with a real estate agent to create a really solid game plan to hopefully get the best deal possible, save some money, and find the perfect home for your family?
So I would look at this point, I think I would look to you to give me some advice on that. So we're going to go through the buyer loan process, right? We got to get a mortgage. I mean, how long does something like that typically take?
Good 2 weeks would be fine. So that means we probably should get together like mid-March. Would that work for you, Gene?
I think that makes sense.
Excellent. Okay, now everybody, what we've done, we have lots of logical next steps with this guy, right? We have lots of touch points so that if this guy ghosts us, we know what his schedule is going to be, right? We know where he's at. And we've just helped him and built a lot of rapport with him because we've worked him backwards through the process and he agreed to it as the steps went along in the way that we did it.
So
instead of just monologuing.
Yeah, what was interesting, I think, even from the first time you did it there, was that it's almost like you're psychologically making all of those statements my idea to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. So You know, because I learned that when I worked at Verizon, it was that whole plant a seed thing. And then when people come back and go, I thought we said that we're going to meet mid-March. And you go, yeah, that was your idea. I think that's a great idea. You're the one that told me you got to stick to it, right?
Right. Yeah, you said we were going to meet this time. You needed to meet with somebody at this time. So this is how, and we use the spring, but we could have easily done that for the fall, right? Because a lot of the issues that we have when we're talking to leads is they're not ready to do something now, and we want to be involved in their lives, but they don't feel like they have a need for us yet. So now we've just created all these steps where they can use us and where we can be communicating. So then people say, well, that's great, Dale. You got them back to, mid March, but say, for instance, this was November, and they'd be like, well, what do I do between now and mid March? So then you go back and you start from today. Hey, Gene, you know what? I have a buyer roadmap packet that I'd like to send over to you that's probably going to answer a lot of questions that you might have ahead of time. Will you take a few minutes and review that for me? Gene's
Sure, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, send it over.
Okay, great. You know what I'll do? I'll also follow up with you tomorrow just to see if you had any questions about it, okay?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm going to take the criteria that you gave me. I'm going to create a customized search for you, and it'll be sending you properties that match what you're looking for. And what do you think if I just follow up with you every 30 days or so just to make sure those criteria still fit for you?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, wonderful. So now, have we created logical next steps?
Yeah.
We have permission. We have several touches. We have activities we're going to do. We have permission to contact this guy ongoing for a reason, right? That is way better than, okay, Gene, you're not really sure it's going to be a long time. How about I follow up with you every couple months and see where you're at?
Right. No, it actually, and this is not me BSing, the conversation and the process made me feel comfortable, made me feel secure in the process, made me feel secure in the person I'm selecting, because it's not just willy-nilly letting it hang out in the wind. It's just, okay, like this is a logical step-by-step process. This is my idea. I feel comfortable. You're not pushing me. You're leading me. And I felt genuinely very comfortable with that dialogue and that conversation.
Yeah.
You just said something really important there.
What's that, Gene?
He just said something that you're not pushing me, you're leading me. I think that's important.
It's huge. It makes a massive impact. And one of the things is, I was going to say, the reason that we teach these things, the reason that it's really important to me to teach these things to agents is because one of the massive issues that agents have right now is simply the number of agents out there, right? They can't all eat. They can't all be fed. There's a finite number of leads. There's a finite number of people who are buying and selling real estate. And there's an infinite number of places online that your lead can get lost to some other competitor. But if you can do a really comprehensive job when you have that first conversation with somebody, build that kind of rapport, create that process with them, basically creating a sale for yourself and spreading it out and causing them to feel really comfortable and confident in you, when they do inadvertently end up on Zillow or Realtor.com or somebody else's website and they get that call from an undertrained agent, they'll immediately recognize it, and the likelihood that you're going to lose your lead to some other agent goes drastically down.
So can I jump on top of that a little bit? I want to get some more out of here. So Zach Hammer's listening online, and he's given some really good tips. And
he's
one
a great
of the
guy.
things, yeah, Zach's the man. And he loves you too, by the way. He said a little earlier. He said, "I love me some Dale Archdekin." But he did. That's actually what he said. But
I'm finger looking good. I should have a shirt that says, "Yes, I'm finger looking good."
Jesus. Right down the rabbit hole again.
And then we went off the deep end again.
Right. So here's my question. So as a marketer, I kind of go along with what Zach was saying. And Zach said, when you do that, your newsletter and email rates, open rates go up too from that person. So you got permission basically to enter into their stratosphere from a bunch of different angles, right? So now, in addition to you calling me every 30 days and sending me that, is there anything else that you would do from November until March, from a digital perspective, from a mailing perspective, from a gift card perspective, to keep all right, so talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I would say when you have a conversation like that with someone and you've now created a really, really solid nurture, they no longer need any sales messaging from you.
Right.
All they need to hear from, they don't need a, hey, talk to me to talk about your home needs, or are you ready to, they don't need any, are you ready to buy or sell yet messaging from you. At that point, all they need are some friendly messages from you. You can just friend them, right? And you can even, we have programmed these things into our email drip campaigns and into our social media and even into our text messaging, SMS, where it's real simple messages like, did you check out that Korean taco spot on whatever street? It's amazing. That's it. It has nothing to do with buying or selling real estate. Or, hey, check out this really cool room makeover by IKEA. Here's the YouTube link. It's super simple stuff. They don't have to have sales messages. Now you're just being their friend. Now you're just staying in their world, because every time you pop up in their SMS or their email or on social, they immediately associate you with real estate because that's the conversation you had. And when they are ready, if they're ready sooner, they will always reach out to you. So it really lightens up what you need. You don't have to make your digital stuff do so much work if you can have that solid of a sales connection with somebody up front.
Yeah,
So
something that be really interesting to, and Gene, I'm sorry, let me just
That's
get
okay.
out and I'll let you
Yeah,
finish. That's where viral marketing comes in for me, because I try to get as many people onto my viral list to get up my videos, and I'm pushing out stuff like, hey, here's this restaurant interview, or this local business interview, or something like that, and people respond incredibly well to it. My click rates are through the roof right now with that type of stuff, and there's zero sales. People bring up the last, hey Greg, last time your last interview was Scott Seafood. I love Scott Seafood. It was amazing. So I go there for my anniversary. Hey, come on in. Let's take a look at the house.
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't even know you're on my email list. Okay, let's go.
Right. That's great.
But
it's excellent. It totally works that way.
it does. And Gene, sorry, finish your thoughts, but I just wanted to get that out real quick about what viral does. That's what they do for me, is they keep me in front of these folks in a non-salesy format, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I really didn't have anything else. I was going to basically say that I always love getting points of information. If you know me, you know I love beer, wine, and food. And if you're shipping me stuff over like, hey, I just had this glass of wine from X, Y, and Z restaurant, I know it's near where you're at, I'm eating that up, man. And I'm staying in touch with you. And then the next time I see your name on my inbox, I'm like, oh, man, what's he got? Another steak place for me? I'm in. Let's go. So I'm with you. I love the free information stuff tailored towards, it's getting to know your people, right? Like if you try to talk to me about soccer, I'm going to quickly delete you. If you want to talk to me about the Eagles, I'm listening, right? Like,
yeah, it's just friending, right? You're like, hey, I'm still your friend. I'm staying your friend. We're friends. Friendy.
friendy. So, I mean, you could, instead of saying you're going to go out prospecting, you could be saying that you're going out friending.
I'm going out
take
friending.
out instead of prospect, I got to do my prospecting today. It's like, dude, I got to go friending today. It's not
right.
so perfect.
Yeah, I got a friending time block on my schedule starting at 9. I'm going to be friending my ass off.
I am so
I'm going to friend the shit out of you. I used to say that, right? When I'm teaching people, like, that's what you have to do. You have to friend the shit out of your leads, right? So when you first talk to a stranger, this is one of the things that bothered me about sales for a long time when I was in real estate sales until it finally got my head straight on it. I hated the fact that I did a lot of expired and for sale by owner prospecting, right? Sold a lot of real estate doing that. But it was always like I had to go in and get punched in the face because I was a stranger and they didn't know who I was until they figured out that I was amazing and they loved me, right? But you always have to start that over again from the I don't know you weird stranger who's trying to pick my pocket or something until you get them into your world and they see how amazing you are and then they love you, right? But you have to keep doing that over and over again. So what I'm saying is you just have to look at it like I'm going to friend the shit out of you until you figure out that we're really good friends, and do that with all your leads.
You're my best friend. You just don't know it yet.
You just don't know it yet.
No,
you effing love me. You haven't figured it out yet.
Love it.
That's exactly what my father said when he got his real estate career going in Boulder, Colorado, back in the mid 70s. There was no such thing as social media, computers, nothing. And he said to himself, "Everybody likes me, they just don't know me yet." And I have the cure for polio, and everyone out here is sick. They have polio, and I've got the cure.
I stole this from your dad. I can't believe it.
I know.
Shame.
He had to go.
The whole life
He's,
is a shamble. Shame.
he's a grandmaster. I do not doubt it. I do not doubt
Nice.
that. This is some awesome shit, man. I mean, Dale, you have a course coming out. You got speaking gigs coming out of your ears. Where can people dive deep with the Dale Archdekin and sit at your feet and pet them softly with warm, nice rabbit skin, so that you will teach them?
That is really weird. I will not
Yeah,
teach
thank
anybody
you.
who
I'm
does
glad you
that.
said it.
Creepy.
Yeah, that's
Holy
not.
cow.
It's not gonna. Definitely not gonna do it for me. It's not gonna blow my hair back.
That's right.
They can find us. Smart Inside Sales is the company. We have a website, and Conversion University is the course that is blowing minds across the country in teaching real estate, lead gen, dialogues, scripting, and conversion. That's what it is. So you guys can find me on the social media and the
On the
website.
media of socials.
On the
Uh,
interwebs.
Interwebs,
Exactly.
yes. That is some good stuff. I mean, I'm going to personally, and this is no joke, I'm personally going to go back and watch this episode again. One, I'm going to laugh because this is some funny ass shit. But two, I really want to go back because I really want to, my personal mindset, I want to go back into that whole, what that process is to lead them, not push them into a sales, funnel and let them come up with it. Because I think, honestly, that if you guys go back and listen to that and write that down and really study that, that is literally the pinky of what Dale can teach you. But that right there, that one thing can convert your friending time, no longer prospecting time, your friending time, to a much more profitable use of your minutes in the day. And it's just so powerful.
Greg, I want to demonstrate the way not to do it, okay? And you'll feel different, and I want to show this to you, okay?
Gene, you're up.
Because this is a mistake that some people make, and it's a nuance that they have to get down. So this is not the way to do it. So, Greg, if you're thinking that you're going to move into your house, let's say like June, it usually takes, it takes probably about 30 days of shopping, another 30 to 45 days to get through the whole process. So really, we're talking like 2.5 months for you to be in that house, which means you should probably jump in my car and start looking at houses like early mid-March, right? What do you think, Greg? Can we get together and start looking at houses mid-March? Does that feel different?
It feels different. I'm feeling you're talking directly at me, and you got an agenda behind you, instead of leading me down the path, hand in hand, like, hey, I'm your guardian, I'm going to protect you. This is okay. This is the safe way to go. Do this, instead of like, my fucking Amex bill is coming up, and bitch, I need a check. So get your ass in my overpriced car. We got to go.
Right, exactly. You had no part in those decision making. I didn't take you
No.
along logically. You didn't agree to anything. I was monologuing and I was putting it on you, and you were sitting there regarding me as a salesperson trying to convince you of something. That's the
Here's
difference.
here's the sad thing, is that as soon as you're talking, like, yeah, that's what I would say. Fuck, that's what I would say. Shit, I've said that. Damn it.
Don't monologue.
Don't monologue, ask, but he or she who asks questions controls the conversation, right? Very old saying. So you're
Yep.
saying to ask questions, but yet I always use a script as like a backbone. You know what your next steps are going to be, but your ribs, or you can peel off and have side conversations as long as you stay on your course. I mean, would you use that kind of a metaphor for kind of what this is, or just stay down the backbone and just go, just stay the course?
Meaning the way that you felt good about it versus the way you didn't feel good about it.
Or if I had different conversations I wanted to have, I wanted like, well, how much are the loan rates, or what neighborhoods are best, or give me some of your testimonials. Those are the ribs. Those are the side conversations, right? They're going to come off. But then you come back to your vertebrae and you go to your next step, but you just know your conversation. So that's what I'm saying. Go back and listen to this, or sign up for Dale's courses and classes and speaking engagements. Go learn this stuff, write it down, practice it on your colleagues, so you guys can work together on this. I think as soon as people understand the process and the thought pattern behind it, people are going to take off with this. I really do like it.
Great, thank you. So I would say if somebody pulls, if you're trying to do that, it's like hey, let's nail down this time. Does that work for you? I do a check-in. I call them micro commitments. You have to keep remembering to get micro commitments when you're telling somebody something or when you're guiding, right? I have to keep checking in with you. Does that make sense for you? Have you thought about that? Would that work for you? Is that something you could do, right? You're getting those micro commitments as you're telling them those pieces. It's best if you can do it in a linear thing so they don't lose track. But if they take you off course and you need to answer a question about interest rates, you need to answer a question about something else, then yes, you come back to it and finish out what you're doing. Because at the end of the conversation, when you're establishing this nurture, basically there's two goals that you have. One is we've co-created a process together. And two, I have permission to contact you at waypoints between now and going forward. That's really what you're looking for as the end result.
I don't know. My head hurts. This is good shit.
It's time for beers.
Oh, God, yeah. Beers and calls.
It's good, yeah, because
right.
it's not just that he who asks the questions controls the conversation. That's true, but Dale, you're combining a questions-based approach with a very specific roadmap of where you want to start the call and where you want to leave the call. So those questions are leading somewhere, because that's the process of using a call to lead someone to do what's in their best interest.
Absolutely, always.
I mean, I got turned on to that approach. Back when I was working for Viral, the CEO of that company told me to read Jay Abraham's book, How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, and just the strategy of preeminence, like always doing what's best what's in your client's best interest, and but not going along with what is easiest for them, because they'll take the path of least resistance. Like, you have to step in and lead them to the results that they want, right? I mean, I wish somebody would have made that call to my parents, because it took them, and this is no joke, 5 years from the time they wanted to move out of their house to the time when they actually pulled the trigger, because no one called them up and had that conversation. So they kept sitting around waiting, letting the garage fill up with more stuff that made the move harder, right? Because they were waiting for them to find the perfect house, not to get their act together and put a plan together, because no one led them through that process. So yeah, I mean, people, it's not just about asking questions. It's about being a leader, and that is a mentality that you go into those calls with, that you have value. You're going to lead them to a result. You're not going to let them take the path of least resistance, because they'll just sit around and 3 months later they'll still be kind of thinking about maybe possibly looking at a house. Yeah. So that's where I think we need to step up. And if anybody's listening, like there's a role that you can step into that's not just sales. It is leadership, and you can take pride in the value that you're bringing, and that will also help change the quality and the tone of those calls.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It totally changes it.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this. So we know how to get in contact with Dale. Gene, what about you? How do we get in contact with you, and why?
Would anyone do that?
Why would I still can't figure that out? I've been trying to tell you that for 2 years, but you keep pushing me to give this information out, so I got to keep doing it. So I have a new thing. I told you last week I had a new thing. You want me to tell you what the new thing is?
What's the new thing?
What?
It's called reviewspronto.com. So you want to get some reviews for your business real quick, make it easy for your clients? Go to reviewspronto.com and call me.
Check that out.
It's very,
do they
very
do
simple.
written or video or what?
It's all right now. It's just one. It's a landing page we create for you as an agent that sends them directly to the page of your choice. So instead of you trying to show people how to get to your Google page to give you a Google review, you click the button that says Google, and it brings up the review thing.
Nice.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, so it can be
cool.
Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook, Google, anything, Yelp, any place you want to have a review. That's where we're sending you.
Okay, I got to quickly just read what Zach's comment is. He loves the way where Matt's sitting, because like the light bulb in Matt's book, it looks like Matt has a thought. Like, bing!
Love his head, yeah. It should go a little higher, Matt. Next time you got to put it a little bit higher to the. Oh my God.
That is awesome. Matt, where can everyone reach you to get a copy? I don't know, are you still giving away free copies of Microfamous for Kindles right now, or is that past?
No? So the Kindle version is back up to like $3.99 or something like that. We are just about to unveil the printed version of the book. By the time you listen to this on the podcast, if you're listening to it on the podcast version, you'll be able to go to microfamousbook.com and get the physical copy free plus shipping. So
can I give you a plug? I read the book. Purchased it, read it. It's a fantastic book. Everybody should get it. All real estate agents.
I appreciate that.
And anybody in business, frankly, should get it.
High praise from DA, man. That's good stuff.
I don't give it out lightly.
High praise from the DA. All right. Yeah, so that's how you get in touch with me and get the book. Greg, how do people connect with you?
Guys, what I want you to do, I want you to just to text me. Very simple, very easy. The thing called the telephone right here, sequential numbers pressed in a different order. You will reach me. I do pay my phone bill sometimes, so they should be working. We never know. But get a hold of me. Let's talk about EXP. Let's talk about some of the stuff we got going on, how we're building our team, what you're going to be, how you can get exposed to the people like Dale, Gene, Matt. Matt loves calls on Saturday afternoons. It's just kind of his thing. He loves doing calls to new agents on Saturday afternoons. Like big events and traveling in airplanes, all his faves. But just talk to me. Let's go over scripts, techniques. If I can do anything to help you at all, feel free to call me 925 915 1928 1978. I forgot my own phone number. 925 915 1978. There it is, guys. Matt, pick a bow now.
Bow color. Given this a lot of thought. Actually, that's a lie. I haven't given this any thought, so I'm stalling.
Fuchsia.
Let's go with turquoise. Let's go with the turquoise bow.
Turquoise bow. Okay, well, guys, there it is.
Turquoise boy.
I don't know what that was.
Turquoise boy.
Turquoise bow.
Let's wrap a turquoise bow around this episode and call it good before this degenerates any further.
All right, guys. Hey, we love you to pieces. Dale, you're a G amongst G's. Thanks for coming out, man. Gene, you're a legend, the myth, and the man. Matt, you're the legend of the micro-famous world. So, guys, we love you to pieces. Thank you for watching. Share this to everyone you know. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. It helps us more than you could possibly know. And until next time, peace and ninjas, we gone.